Mary, you work for a couple of months in oil and gas. I just want to know, like, what's the average salary in Canada, and like, uh, and also the job which you're working right now. It's gonna be towards the consulting. So, what's the average salaries if you compare both of them? And can you give some advantages and disadvantages in both the fees?
Yeah. So like the the average salary for first off, I would say for every salaries are very dependent on
Yeah,
what the company is, right, and what the services they're providing, how much customers pay for those services. So all those are factored into how much people who work in those industries get paid.
yeah,
So if you want to really learn about average salaries, it's very important to do a lot of research on the company. So one of the places you can get a lot of information is Glassdoor.
yeah.
Spend a lot of time on Glassdoor doing using the salary analysis tools that are around. And I think those is LinkedIn also has a salary inside tool built in now that you can use.
You can use the Google itself.
You'll see, yeah. Oh yeah, like I can get the so there is a salary range that exists at least for like from an oil and gas standpoint. So like the starting engineer, you make anywhere between like 60 to 85 to 90, right? Like it's
So, is a master guy you're saying about?
entry level.
Entry level.
It normally would not be like, oh, like masters. It's entry level is entry level, right? Unless if you're getting hired as a senior, like yeah, that's a senior. So I don't think it's more so related to your background. It's more so like your experience that you're bringing on board. So you have like like a range from like 60 to 80. Where in pricing consultant is also a pretty similar range, but like you kind of have more people bunched up on the lower end of like the 60 to 80 range than you would find in industry. But again, you also need to pay attention to the average household income of like the various promises as well to kind of for you to be able to determine if the salary is enough or not. So if your salary that you're making is about the household income, and there's still something that you also need to consider in like when you're looking at the career path, is earning potential. So earning potential is not, you're not looking at the salary you're making now, but you're looking at the salary that you'll be making in a few years in a role. And that is extremely important. Like if you're looking at like coming into an industry, you're like, okay, like maybe I don't like what I'm making now, but in a few years, I think I will be here. Or if I switch to another company because it's like a very high paying industry, I'll still be making more money. So those are all like factors that you need to consider when you're looking at salary in some general. Yeah.
So people sometimes, think salary is the main important thing, but I think it's not about the salary alone, right? It's the satisfaction which you get in the job itself. So people usually ask salary when we come to, like, the reason why I'm saying is when we leave our home country and come to Canada, we think we are spending money here. So
Yeah.
that's not the case. That's not the case, guys.
Yeah.
It's not about only the salary.
Yeah.
Work-life balance. Usually people, couple of people care more about work-life balance than the actual salary. A lot of them wants to do their passion more than the salary itself. So there are a lot of other factors.
Yeah, and it's good for opportunities, right? Like, if you look at the job and it's like it's a stagnant role that you're going to be doing the same thing for the next 50 years of your life, and probably would not, like, even if you're getting paid like $200,000 to do the same thing for the next 50 years, I don't know. Some people that might not be it. They'll want more with their careers, right? So again, there's a few factors to take into account, but I'll heavily rely on research. You should research as much as you can, and it's very unique to each company, and you need to make sure you're looking at other factors when you're looking at a job.
So it also depends on every individual profile. Even have more skill sets, there are chances you might be paid more.
Yeah.
That's what people most of the times they ask me more about the salaries. When they come to the job, they ask me more about the salaries. So I just ask you that. So thank you.
Oh yeah, no problem. I know it's appreciated.
What kind of suggestion you would give to anyone who is coming to Canada, who is already in the Canada, but they are actually looking for the job, right? So what kind of suggestions would help them to get a job really quick and get that to push them to some other level a bit more than what they're actually doing?
So it took me 7 months to get my first job. So I don't know if that is your definition of really quick. Yeah, I was counting. But yeah, I'll say there was a lot of learning that went into securing a job, and I think my biggest mistake looking back was that I started looking for a job after school.
Okay.
Which is not what you're supposed to be doing. So you're have to start looking for a job pretty much as soon as you figure out what you're doing in school, and you're like, okay, I have 2-3 more semesters left. You need to start looking for a job then.
Okay.
Like so it's like, and not necessarily that you're applying for jobs, but you need to start paying attention to potential companies that would need the skill set that you're pursuing in school. And I didn't do most of that when I was in school. So it was a very new experience for me. I remember like looking at my first resume that I sent out in May 2017, and it's atrocious. Like looking back, I'm like, God damn it. Like nobody was gonna hire me with this resume like this, right? And so that shouldn't be the case, right? It's like most of the time, by the time you graduate, your resume should be in a good state, should be reviewed by at least someone who works in industry, and a few other things that like I failed to do in my time. So by then it's like over time, at least I started like ramping up and like really getting intensifying my job search, like going to a lot of industry events, leveraging the Mom Career Center. It's like super helpful. Like I had them look after my resume, signing up with Association of New Canadians, like getting my name in their job, their candidate pools, and then go to a lot of industry events, like any industry event. So I'd go on Eventbrite, and any event that I'll see that sounds cool enough, even if it's for like to geology. I remember going for like a event with for a bunch of geologists. I have no idea what the hell they were talking about, but I met a guy from ExxonMobil there, and it did not like he didn't offer me a job or whatnot. But then I started gaining more. I started getting more comfortable with talking to people who are like working in the industries that I want to be in. Like I don't get starstruck. So if I meet someone in the industry, I'm like, oh my God, this is a person from Excel. Like, no, I'd already gone through that phase. So yeah, it's always going to be industry event. So I got very comfortable with talking about myself or talking about what is happening in the industry or even learning about what is happening in the industry to do this stuff. So for me, that I think we'll touch on that more as we progress. But that was for me, that was like a big differentiator because I started seeing a lot of success in my job search like a few months down the line. So like remember like out of 7 months, the first 3 4 months it was very very quiet.
Yeah.
Like not a whole lot of like people coming back to me with like requests for interviews or whatnot. Nothing of that sort. But the last 3 months was very busy. Like I'll say like I got like 12 interviews before my first job, and I would say out of that 12, 10 of them was in the last 3 months of my job search because there was a week that I had, and like the journal would get 2 interviews in 1 week. So, and it's because of like I was like the compounding effect of like this constant research and building a network. It all started paying off a little bit. People saying, right? So yeah.
For instance, you would go to any of the student is like you want to like is the LinkedIn one of the important thing which you look for? Or like is there any other tool which you would, have size somebody who is coming to you as a junior or somebody like that?
Looking for work?
Yeah, looking for work. I mean, what are the tools you would suggest them? And is the resume, what kind of changes you made on your resume, that kind of information?
Yeah. So one of the interesting things, like sometimes there's like if you're trying to structure a resume, there's so many different ideas. Or okay, like should the education come first, or should the experience? And like all those like little things. The other is like it really doesn't matter. Like in the grand scheme of things, but like it's just very important to understand what a recruiter looks at on your resume.
Okay.
And you need to understand that process. Like, and I was doing a lot of like taking around like research and constantly looking at YouTube videos and stuff. And so for me, it was like I need to get in the head of like a recruiter and understand when they look at my resume, what are they looking for? How much time are they spending on my resume, and how can I make the most impact in the time that they're spending on my resume for them to be like, okay, I want to know more about this person. So like I started like depending on which job I'm applying for, I'll tweak my resume accordingly. So 100% recommend don't just pray and pray, which is essentially just applying for as many jobs as you can. 100% against that. Don't do that. Tailor every single application to the specific job. So if it's an oil and gas job, spend time, read the job description, understand it as much as you can. Read about the company. Is this a company that you really want to work for? Sometimes it's not. I mean, beggars can't be choosers, unfortunately. So, but maybe there's something in there that they're doing that interests you. And it's like, it's just nice to see, okay, this company is offering like professional development opportunities, which is great. So maybe it's important for me to tell them that I do a lot of courses on Coursera and I do a lot of professional development. So maybe it's important to include that on your resume because the company supports that. It's like the more you understand the company, the better you can write a resume that would speak to them. And the other thing was like, so when it comes to like there's a system that is used to screen out resumes, to the applicant tracking system, ATS. So I really got to understand ATS pretty well. Like it's not with the purpose of like hacking the system or whatnot, but like it just helps you to make sure you're using the right verbiage in your resume that lines up with that industry.
Okay.
So for instance, like there are keywords, right? There are keywords that the industry cares about. So maybe you may have that experience, but you were just not using the right keywords to represent those experiences. So like you need to kind of know if your resume is like using the right verbiage or whatnot, because that actually plays a key role. And then there is LinkedIn as well. Super important, because LinkedIn was great for you to just stalk the people who work there. Because it's very important to kind of have an idea of like who has been hired there. Because that would give you an insight into, is this a place that you can work? Do you even have a shot or not? So like you look there, you're like, okay, this person's here. They have the same degree that I have. They have the same experiences that I do. Maybe they might want to just talk to me and share a few insights to me or not. So maybe that would be a great to connect them and say, hey, I'm applying to your company and I would like to have some like, coffee chat to talk about what you do or whatever, like, you know, those things. But like LinkedIn was super helpful in that sense that helps you to see who works there, helps you to see what the company is posting about, so what the current strategic direction is headed. And that was for me very super helpful in like bringing that back into my job application. And then overall, it's like also gives me a hits list, which is like I actually maintain a spreadsheet of like companies that I wanted to work for, and people in those companies that I need.
Oh, okay.
Right. So then I started like documenting it, and then I maintain like a tracker for how frequently I connect to them. Because again, like these people are professional connections, not friends. So you can't just be texting them like you text your friends every day. So it's like there's some that I'll talk to. It's like once every 3 months or whatnot. So it's like I'll try to maintain that just to keep track of. Oh, I haven't spoken to the guy in 6 months. It's time to go back to him again. And you always need to have it clear. So sometimes, because like the reason I would do that was sometimes you'd find out about this cool company that you didn't know about before. You're like, damn, this is like a perfect job for me. You apply and like you don't get it, but then you're like, I didn't know this company even existed, so now I need to know some of it. Because guess what? They will post another role in a few months. Yeah, it happens a lot, right? So then I would invest time to build a relationship there. And my goal was that for every job that I applied, I need to have a referral there. Okay. So this was something that I figured out like later on down the line in my job application. This was not when I started out. Okay. But I was like, every time I apply to a company, I need to know someone there. So I would make an effort to connect with someone who works there, and I dominantly use the personalized connection request, where I was saying who I am, why I think that they're a good person to talk to me. So I'll normally review your profile first, see if I find something that I kind of like, yes, and that was what I'm doing. And then I would send off a LinkedIn message, and it's like, again, there's so many different ways you could do this. I did a lot of research. For me, I'll just send a research, say, hey, do you have some time in your calendar for us to have a coffee chat? I would be upfront about what I'm looking for in terms of maybe I'm looking for mentorship. Because again, there's no job, there's nothing. I'm just want to know what you guys do there. And every now and then you get people who will reply, be like, yeah, usually it doesn't do that, you know. Say, for example, that after that, if I don't reach and I get rejected, like, am I gonna stay bad or something? Yeah, it's you need not think about it, right? Just ask people. You'll be surprised how many people accept for it, right? Yeah. For example, I reached you on LinkedIn, and though I know you from before or not, when I reached you on LinkedIn, so usually people feel hesitated to reach out to somebody. So it's not usually the case. Few times, most of the times, people actually accept to have a cup of coffee together, something like that. So, and see, the one other thing that I'll add to that is so it's like I'm super grateful that I was unemployed as long as I was, because it really helped me a lot in terms of like developing very new personalities that I still use in my job today. Like at work, like if I need something, it doesn't matter who you are. Like if I need something, you're the one who has it. Like if I need some knowledge and you're the one who has it, it doesn't stress me out that you're like the CEO, you're like, it's like, you have knowledge that I need. I just be out for, hey, this is me, this is where I am at right now. Like, do you want to get some time together to talk? Most people say yes. Yeah. But again, if they don't, I built a lot of like resistance. Like I built a lot of like what's the word? tolerance towards like rejections. It's like, because again, like there's a lot of trial and error, man. Like when I started out, I'd reach out with different approaches, right? Because like you never really know. There's no blueprint on like this is the LinkedIn way. This is how people. And it's like, so I send out first off. I even did the hi type of thing. You said hi for things. Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, like I quickly realized over a period that hey, all the 5 people that I sent hi never responded. It's maybe you probably shouldn't do that. And that was one thing that was like doing a lot of iterative approaches, right? So it's like there's no one way of doing things, like it's an iteration. So like I realized over time that people don't respond to hi when you want to link it at all. I wonder why. But I was like, okay, maybe if I write a whole story about myself and I send it out, you would be more likely to respond. Most people also don't because it's too long. Yeah, because most people would open LinkedIn, especially if you're working, you open LinkedIn just a few seconds and just to see what's up and then move all your day.
Yeah.
So it's like, it is too long. Most people probably just get overwhelmed by it. So then I was like, okay, maybe I should just try shortening it up. And then maybe I started getting a few responses. Even that, like, still there was a good number of people who would not respond.
Yeah.
And some people would. But, like, guess what? Like, for the people who don't respond, it could be that they're going through a lot of personal things that you don't know about. Maybe the guy's, like, literally getting divorced, right? You're here asking him for a job. Like, you don't know. See, the point that I'm trying to make is like most of the time you don't know what you always see is a LinkedIn profile of a guy smiling or frowning or whatever, but there's a cool person behind it. People relying on that person for stuff, commitments that they have, challenges that they're dealing with that you don't know about, or they could even be dead. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it could be anything. So one thing that I learned over time was like not to take it too harshly if someone doesn't respond to me on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Because you don't know what you're going through. Like, you don't know what they're dealing with at the time. So if someone doesn't respond, there's always that one person who would.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, you need just one job. Like, how many jobs can one person do at the same time, right? So it's like, if one person doesn't respond, there's definitely going to be someone out there who would be more than happy to hear you out and help you out. And you are on that quest to find that one person. And I was fortunate. I mean, after going through a lot of like rejection and stuff, I managed to find out. And it's pretty crazy. Like, it's like the people who were like very pivotal in my job search process, I got like just 3 of them. Right. And I reached out to like close to 200 people overall.
Oh my God.
Right. Like a lot of them were just very helpful, conversation back and forth and stuff. But the people who were most pivotal, it's like 2-3 people. And they were like having coffee, and that coffee chat just turned everything around. Right. So I would say just keep on reaching out, but like make sure like you're improving your strategy. Like, don't just keep doing the same thing and then blame everybody else if it's not working. It's like it would not take you anywhere. It's always just say, hey, how maybe can I improve this? Can I do better? Like, is there something I'm missing here? And it would all work out eventually. Like,
Did I leave you a positive impression when I reached you on?
yeah, they responded. So they gave me all the information that I needed, and also because I'm already familiar with you anyway. So it's like it was great that like it was very detailed information, and I read it, and I was like, oh, this is really great. And I was on vacation, so I was like, oh, I'm gonna respond later on. I was like, I did read it ahead. I came in, though. I was like, yeah.